White just played Queen f3. Pause the video to spot Black's next move. White's idea is to play Queen takes d1 and establish a winning position. Queen takes f3 was chosen by Black. On takes f3. On h5. Black intends to play on h4. On f4 check. King takes f4. King b5. On h3. On g5. On h2. And take decisive advantage. On takes h5 played by White. On takes h5. King c3. On h4. On b4. On h3. King b3. King d4. On b5. On h2. On b6. On promotes to queen at h1. Black is aiming to play Queen b1 check. King a3. King c4. On b7. Queen b3 mate and seize the initiative. King c2. White is on the verge of defeat. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. Queen d3 check. Pause the video to find out White's response. Queen takes d3 check. On takes d3. On c4. White is preparing to play pawn takes b5 and increase their advantage significantly. On takes c4 played by Black. On a4. On c3. Black might go for on c2. King g2. On promotes to queen at c1 and seize the initiative. King e1 played by White. White might go for King d1. King g6. On a5. On f5. On a6. On c2 check. King d2. King g5. On takes f5 and seize the initiative. King g6 played by Black. Black intends to play on c2. King d2. King g5. On a5. King takes g4 and put immense pressure on the opponent. On a5 move preferred by White. King g5. On a6. On h5. On takes h5. On g6. On a7. On takes h5. On promotes to queen at a8. White is preparing to play Queen g8 check. King h6. Queen h8 check. King g6. Queen e8 check. King f5. Queen c8 check and establish a winning position. King g4. Black's loss is confirmed. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. Queen e4. Pause the video and try to find Black's next move. White is planning to play Queen takes e6 check and dominate the board. Queen takes e4 move preferred by Black. On takes e4. On h4. King g2. King f7. King f3. King e6. Black is aiming to play King d6. On b6. King c5 and increase their advantage significantly. King e3 was chosen by White. King e5. King f3. On h3. Black considers playing King d4. King g3. King takes e4 and increase their advantage significantly. King e3 was chosen by White. On b6. King d3. King f4. King d4. King takes g4. On e5. On takes e5 check. King e4. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. Queen b6. Pause the video to figure out Black's next move. White might go for Queen takes c7 and secure a strong hold in the game. Queen takes b6 move preferred by black. Pawn takes b6. King g5. King g1. King f4. Black intends to play. King e5. King f2. King d6. King e3. King c5. Pawn h4. King takes b6 and take decisive advantage. King f2 played by white. Pawn g5. King e2. King g3. Black wants to play king takes g2 and secure a strong hold in the game. King f1 was chosen by white. King h2. Pawn g4. White considers playing pawn takes h5 and take decisive advantage. Pawn h4 played by black. King e2. King takes h3. King f3. King h2. Black is preparing to play. King g1. King e4. King f2. King f5. Pawn h3. King f6. Pawn h2 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King e4 played by white. Pawn h3. King f5. King g3. King e6. King takes g4. King d6. White has no response. Let's go to the next game. Black played. Queen takes g4 check. Pause the video to analyze white's next move. Queen takes g4 check. King takes g4. Pawn b4. King f5. King d5. White is preparing to play. Pawn b5. King f6. Pawn b6. King f5. Pawn b7. King f4. King e6 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King f6 move preferred by black. Pawn b5. White is planning to play. Pawn b6. King f5. Pawn b7. King f4. King d4 and gain a significant edge. King e7 move preferred by black. King c6. White is aiming to play. Pawn b6. King e6. Pawn b7. King f5. King d6 and establish a winning position. King d8 played by black. King b7. King d7. King a7. King e6. Pawn b6. King d7. Pawn b7. White is aiming to play. King b6. King d6. Pawn promotes to rook at b8. King d5. King b5 and seize the initiative. King d6 move preferred by black. King b6. White intends to play. Pawn promotes to rook at b8 and take decisive advantage. King e6 move preferred by black. King c6. King e5. Pawn promotes to queen at b8 check. King e6. White has a strong upper hand. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. King f3. Pause the video to spot black's next move. Queen takes f4 check. Queen takes f4. Pawn takes f4. King takes f4. King g6. King e4. White's idea is to play. King d5. King f7. King d6. King e8. King e6. Pawn b4. Pawn takes b4. Pawn g5. King f5 and dominate the board. King f7 was chosen by black. King f5. King e7. King e4. King e6. Black's idea is to play. Pawn g5. King d4. Pawn g4. Pawn b3. Pawn takes b3 and secure a strong hold in the game. King f4 move preferred by white. Pawn g6. King g5. King takes e5. King takes g6. King d4. King f6. King c4. King e6. King b3. King d6. King takes b2. King c5. King takes a3. King takes b5. White has no response. Let's go to the next game. White played Queen e3. Pause the video to find out Black's response. Queen takes e3 check. King takes e3. On a4. On c4. King e6. King d2. On b5. King c3. On takes c4. King takes c4. On f4. Black is looking to play pawn takes g3 and put immense pressure on the opponent. Pawn takes f4 played by white. Pawn takes f4. King c3. On f3. Black is planning to play pawn f2. Pawn b3. King d5 and seize the initiative. King d3 move preferred by white. King f5. Black is planning to play King f4. King d2. King g3. King c3. Pawn f2. King b4. Pawn promotes to queen at f1 and seize the initiative. King d2 was chosen by white. King e4. Black wants to play king takes d4 and increase their advantage significantly. King e1 was chosen by white. King e3. King f1. On f2. Black is planning to play King f3. On d5. Pawn takes d5. On b4. Pawn takes b3. On a4. On b2. On a5. Pawn promotes to rook at b1 mate and gain a significant edge. King g2 played by white. King e2. King g3. Pawn promotes to queen at f1. King g4. Black is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game. White just played King b5. Pause the video to analyze Black's next move. Queen b3 check. King c6. Queen c4 check. King b6. Queen c5 check. King a6. Queen a3 check. King b7. Queen takes a8 check. King takes a8. King f6. King b7. White is preparing to play King c6. King f5. King takes d6. Pawn h5. King c6. King g4. On d6 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King e5 was chosen by Black. Black might go for King takes d5 and gain a significant edge. King c6 played by White. White wants to play Pawn h5. King f5. King takes d6 and gain a significant edge. Pawn h5 played by Black. King d7. White is aiming to play King c6. King f6. King takes d6 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King takes d5 played by Black. King c7. King e5. King c6. On d5. Black might go for on d4. King c5. On d3. King c6. On d2. King d7. Pawn promotes to queen at d1 check and establish a winning position. King b5 played by White. On d4. King c5. On d3. King c4. On d2. King d3. Pawn promotes to queen at d1 check. King c3. Black has a strong upper hand. Let's go to the next game. White played Queen e5. Pause the video and try to find Black's next move. White is aiming to play Queen takes e1 and seize the initiative. Queen takes e5 played by Black. On takes e5. On f4. Black is preparing to play. King f5. King g1. King takes e5 and establish a winning position. On b4 played by white. White is setting up to play. Pawn takes a5 and gain a significant edge. On takes b4 move preferred by black. On takes b4. King f5. King g1. King takes e5. King f2. King d5. Black is aiming to play. On f5. King e1. King c4. King f2. On e5 and gain a significant edge. King f3 was chosen by white. On e5. Black intends to play. On f5. King f2. King c4. King e1. King takes b4 and seized the initiative. King g4 was chosen by white. King c4. Black is preparing to play. King takes b4 and establish a winning position. King f5 played by white. White might go for king takes e5 and dominate the board. On f6 was chosen by black. King g4. King takes b4. King takes h4. On e4. Black is preparing to play. On e3. King g4. On e2. King f5. On promotes to queen at e1 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King g4 move preferred by white. On f3. Black's idea is to play pawn takes g2 and establish a winning position. King g3 move preferred by white. King c3. Black considers playing. King d3. On takes f3. On e3. King g4. On e2. King f5. On promotes to queen at e1 and gain a significant edge. On h4 was chosen by white. King d3. King f2. On e3 check. King takes f3. On e2. King g4. On promotes to queen at e1. Black is setting up to play. Queen e4 check. King h5. Queen takes g2 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King f5. Black is clearly ahead. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. Queen c5. Pause the video and try to find white's next move. Black is looking to play queen takes c6 check and secure a stronghold in the game. Queen takes c5 move preferred by white. On takes c5. King f3. On h5. King e4. On f5 check. King takes f5. King f7. King e5. King g6. King d5. King f5. King takes c5. King e4. King b6. King f3. King takes a5. King takes f2. On g4. White is preparing to play pawn takes h5 and establish a winning position. On takes g4 was chosen by black. On takes g4. King f3. On g5. King g4. On g6. King h5. King b4. King takes g6. On the 5. King f5. King c3. King e4. On a6. King d5. On a7. King e5. King d3. White's idea is to play King e3. King d5. On promotes to queen at 8 check and secure a stronghold in the game. King f5 was chosen by black. King e3. King e6. On promotes to queen at 8. King f7. Black is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game.